Nature got us all before we fall into insanity. I'm making a point to make my beat pump and roll like drop some shit. Daddy, stupid bitches, jaws tight. God, can you understand me? That's my
Muay Thai elbow mastery, but this one really has a certain special something about it. Not only was the connection just about as clean as you can get, but this crafty technician actually used his other arm to lift his opponent's chin up just before he landed the blow, like he was setting him up for an optimum impact. A masterwork of very violent but highly creative in-the-pocket striking for sure. We could probably make an entire video based on the number of wild KOs that Raymond Daniels has gotten over the years. And this one, for our money, is just about as good as any of them. A jumping, spinning back kick is the type of shot that most fighters wouldn't even attempt. But for Daniels, he has almost turned it into a signature. Flawless execution, insane speed, and one hell of an impact. We're getting into a lot of fairly strange and entertaining KOs, but even by our video standards, this next one is wild. During a heated exchange on the mat, one of these wrestlers managed to accidentally kick the referee in the face, KOing him stiff. It took a second for everyone to realize what had happened, but man, you sure don't see this type of thing every day. A total accident, but a really crazy turn of events. What's the best counter for a spinning wheel kick? Well, if you answered another spinning wheel kick, you're gonna absolutely love this next entry. When two guys throw the exact same technique, the guy who's a split second quicker is obviously gonna land first. And that's exactly what we saw here. A brutal finish. Flying knees are not the type of shots that generally need a follow-up, but in this case, the fighter decided to land his flying knee while then scoring a big right hand as his opponent was already going out. Again, the knee was clearly enough, but we gotta give this dude some major style points for even attempting a KO like this. Kudos to you, man. That is one hell of a unique KO. This next one is just about as good a comeback as we've seen in quite some time. The fighter in the blue was well and truly getting beaten down for the majority of the fight. He even suffered a nasty looking knockdown at one point as his opponent began to gain confidence. But after finding his opening, he sprung out of his shell, leaping forward with a one-hitter-quitter elbow to the jaw that totally destroyed his opponent's chin. There's nothing quite like a clean spinning elbow, and even when these two guys were wearing headgear, there was no stopping this precise shot from doing its damage. Using his opponent's momentum against him, the elbow found tremendous force when it landed, sending its target out of the venue with a one-way ticket to the Shadow Realm. Of course, in all seriousness, we hope the dude was okay. That's just one pretty looking knockout though. We don't often check in with pancreation on this channel, but based on this scintillating knockout, we probably should be. A tornado kick is a technique that most fighters wouldn't even attempt, so to see one landed with this level of accuracy is truly mind-bending. A beautiful knockout shot that required absolutely no follow-up. Equal this year. You want a victory for Foreman. This is the kind of knockout you never truly want to see on the wrestling circuit, but when they do happen, and the technique on display is as impressive as it is here, you gotta give props to the dude who pulled it off. To lift your opponent up and pivot them into a slam like this requires tremendous physical talents, and that's exactly what we saw here. A clean impact and a nasty knockout to boot. On that issue, this was a move that even the great Bruce Lee would have been proud of. When these switch kicks land clean, the resulting blow is often totally devastating, and this offering was no exception. A cold, clinical, and undeniably cool way to finish a fight. Next up, we have an entry that, to this day, stands as heavyweight boxing's fastest knockout. If you know anything about David Tua, you'll know that he hits like a pair of rocks for fists. And in there with the future heavyweight champion John Ruiz, it showed. A brutal barrage in the corner ended Ruiz's night early, giving Tua perhaps his most famous KO of them all. Michael Venom Page might have made his name in kickboxing and MMA, but when he did step into the ring for a shot at boxing, the results were just as devastating as you might expect. One of the strangest fighters in combat sports, this guy is known for his unusual darting movement and snake-like precision. And as soon as this Viper found his opponent's timing, he sprung, catching him clean for a boxing KO that looks like it was pulled straight out of Points Karate. And finally, what better way to end than with one final switch kick? For our money, this one is just about as nice as they come. Countering his opponent's forward rhythm, this guy decided to vault into a switch kick, catching his target with his defenses totally down for this insane highlight reel finish. Well, that does it for the video. Again, make sure you leave a like. We do appreciate it. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure you never miss out on any future videos. Anything you want to see next, drop us a comment and let us know. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.
Seen in my life.
And just like we're not wasting any time, neither was Phil the Drill Williams when he managed to take advantage of an incredibly aggressive charge by his opponent to put his lights out right there and then. Who knows what Brandon Burke was trying to do, but Williams simply pivoted off for the easy counter shot. This was and is the fastest knockout in the history of the sport of boxing. It took maybe 2 seconds to get him down on the canvas. If one knee to the face is bad, how about a clean impact from 2? And after this Muay Thai fighter managed to land the perfect shot in close to drop his opponent to the canvas, he immediately flew in with one of the most graceful jumping knees you'll ever see. Perfect motion from start to finish. He leaped and flew at his target like he had rockets in his boots, ultimately spelling doom for his unfortunate victim. Look, let's be real for a moment. This is one of the craziest KOs we've ever seen. Just seconds into this kickboxing fight, our hero decides to throw an audacious spinning heel kick, but even he must have been surprised at how well it connected. The angle on this one was truly wild. The shot came up and landed clean on his opponent's jaw, ending his night in shocking fashion. A 1 in a million KO shot. Of that, there can be no doubt. This next one we like to call death by leg kicks. Seriously, you're not going to see a more vicious sequence of leg kicks than this one. His opponent's leg was basically toast as soon as the first one connected, and after sensing the incoming finish, this guy just basically spammed the technique over and over, ripping the leg to shreds for the win. We're guessing that his victim was in some serious pain the following day. A nasty piece of work, that's for sure. Wrestling is not a sport we often associate with knockouts, and that's what makes this next one such a rarity. Usually on the mats, if we see someone go unconscious, it's because of a huge slam or falling at a weird angle. But here, it was a simple case of this dude's face colliding directly with his opponent's shoulder as they tied up. From there, he went out cold. Thankfully, he regained his wits shortly after, and everything was okay. Watch boxing for another 50 years, and you will never see a fighter do the chicken dance quite like Zab Judah did here. In the closing seconds of the second round, Judah got tagged hard with a big right cross, and when he did try to stand up, his attempts looked like an entry for a dance competition more than anything else. The fight was called off there and then, despite Judah's protests. Come on, Zab, you were clearly done fighting. If you're not familiar with the sport of Lathway, this next one is going to come as a shock to the senses. Lathway is regarded as one of the most brutal fighting forms on the planet, and in this clip, you can see why. This fighter tried to land a few glancing headbutts on his opponent, and when he did find the opponent, boy was the resulting shot a heavy one. A legal KO in the sport of Lathway, believe it or not. This one-hitter quitter from the boxing ring is certainly one of the quickest you'll ever see. A destructive KO that ended the fight right before the action had even kicked off. In fact, this 17-second Daniel Jimenez bomb was the fastest knockout in the history of world title fights in the sport, a record that most fighters can only dream of achieving. For years, this was the fastest knockout in the history of boxing title fights, a record that would not be beaten for many years. Jump forward to 2017, and Zolani Tete was about to leave that record in tatters. Tete did not waste any time in getting the action underway, landing a short and snappy right hook to his opponent's chin that put him out cold instantly. 11 seconds was the official time given, making Zolani the new holder of this record. And to be honest, we don't know how anyone is ever going to top this. We've all seen our fair share of more